Hi everyone, Jennifer here, back with another edition of Movie Talk. This week's movie is one that is the follow-up, or not the follow-up, but based on a book that I have read, and one that I have seen quite a bit, and actually, I saw the sequel to first, and then I saw this one. And that movie is The Secret of N.I.M.H. A widowed farm mouse seeks help from a mysterious group of rats in the hope of saving her youngest son from being killed by the farmer's plows. Okay, highlights of the movie. This movie was made back in 1982, so it's about 42 years old, and is an animated fantasy adventure film that is based on the book Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of N.I.M.H. by Robert C. O'Brien. It has one sequel, which I forgot to put in there, and I apologize for that, which is The Secret of N.I.M.H. 2, Timmy to the Rescue, and it is the final film role of Elizabeth Hartman. Okay, now things I liked about this movie. First off, I like the characters. It's mostly animal characters, and animal characters you would see in fields and in the forest. So there's a shrew, there's obviously a family of mice, there's the group of rats, there's a crow, and there's an owl. There's also the farmer's cat, but the farmer's cat doesn't really talk. And the main character is, of course, the widow mouse. In this movie, she's referred to as Mrs. Frisby. There are some slight differences in the movie with the book, but we'll get more into that on Sunday with comparison. And then there is, of course, Jeremy the Crow, and then there are the rats, and among them there's really only 3 that are given names, Justin and Jenner and Nicodemus. There's one other mouse, Mr. Ages, and then, of course, there's Mrs. Frisby's 4 children. They mention her husband, Jonathan, and we do see him in a flashback, but he's not really a character. There's no lines or anything for him in the movie. And then, of course, there's the shrew, also referred to as Auntie Shrew. And they're all very, very cute, relatable characters. Jeremy is so funny. It's like, I know having read the book, I get why he was in the movie, because he did have a role to play in the book. When I was watching the movie, I'm thinking, God, this character's in here for comic relief, period. The rats are kind of cool. And we don't spend a lot of time with Mrs. Frisby's children. A little bit, particularly the three older ones. Timmy, we don't see all that much, maybe a scene or two. He makes up for his lack of appearance in this movie in the sequel, A Secret of N.I.M.H, Timmy to the Rescue. But we'll talk more about that when I do a review on that movie. And I'm trying to think here. Again, the shrew, it wasn't really until I read the book that I was like, what is the role of the shrew in here? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But, I mean, the characters are all good. They all play off each other very, very well. There are some differences between them and between the characters' role in the movie and the book. But again, we'll talk more about that in the comparison video on Sunday. I liked the story. The story was very, very good. Again, a little different from the storyline in the book. Not that much, but enough to where it is a smidge different. But we'll get more into that, into the comparison. But it's a very, very, very good movie. Very good storyline. Basically, Justin, the father of the four children, dies before the movie even starts. And the mom has to basically, like, you know, any widow, raise her children on her own. And it's a struggle because Timmy is very sickly. Martin, her oldest son, is trying to assume the role of the man of the house, which is kind of what I got from both the book and the movie. And, you know, the girls are just trying to be very helpful to their mom. And, you know, it's a struggle to raise four kids on your own with no one to really help you. So, you know, when her one son needs help because he's sick, she turns to someone she thinks she can trust, of course, Mr. Ages. And then an even bigger issue comes up and she has to seek out even more help than Mr. Ages, but I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to give away the movie. But the storyline is very, very good. It's very cute. A lot of magic, or what appears to be magic, in this as opposed to the book. But again, we'll get more into that to compare in the comparison video. Okay, cast. This movie had a great cast of actors. I really only focused on, of course, Mrs. Brisby and the three rats that were given names. Jeremy, Mrs. Frisbee's children, Mr. Ages, basically the main characters, the ones you see for quite a little bit. And then, of course, the Great Owl, even though you really only see him in, like, one scene. But he's mentioned quite a bit throughout the movie. Like, before he's seen and then afterwards, so that's why I thought I should credit him in the cast. Okay, feel free to check out my other videos.